Welcome into Higher Living, everyone. Really excited about my guest today. Welcome in, Tommy Hearn. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How about you, Lance?
I'm doing great. So Tommy and I, I knew we had a mutual connection, and we just figured it out. We're both from Nashville, and I'm sure we know more of the same people. When did you graduate, by the way?
92.
I did too. Okay, I'm sure we know more of the same people.
I'm sure we do. I'm sure we
Uh,
do.
but anyway, we connected on Instagram, and what I love about this show is giving other people an opportunity to tell their story. And man, what you're doing is phenomenal. So tell us a little bit more. We'll just start there. Tell us a little bit more about what Element is.
Well, that is, man, I remember years ago, I was at a good friend's house and we were kind of messing around with concrete, but not even this kind of concrete. It was like Sackcrete
Mm-hmm.
and just messing around with shapes and stuff like that. And I got online, saw a picture of this table that had concrete and wood combined. And I was like blown away. I said, I got to learn how to do this. And so I started, going through online, looking for ways to learn how to do this. Cause I knew it was going to require some education that I didn't have.
Yeah. So this is
And
not something that you like picked up. I mean, you just wanted to do it and figured it out, huh?
well, initially I was drawn to it just from the picture
Mm-hmm.
online, and then I found a place, Concrete Design School, that offers classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I found when one was there was actually one that was local in Burns when I was living in Dixon, and a guy that I know well, Dusty Baker, was one of the guys that teaches with the Concrete Design School along with Brandon Gore.
Okay.
Um, and so I went to that class and learned enough to get me hooked.
Mm-hmm.
And, what I have learned is that the more you do, the more you make, regardless of the size of the piece, the
Mm-hmm.
better you get. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to fine tune my skill. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And the more I make, whether it be small pieces or giant monolithic pieces, the process is the same
Yeah.
for me, where I design it, I draw it, I take it from my head to paper, and then I build the form, I cast it, and then finish it out to the end. And that is what I love about the concrete. You know what I mean? Because if you can figure out a way to, shape, you can do all these crazy abstract, fun shapes and things that look fluid, but it's concrete,
Yeah.
and it just makes you want to touch it. And you're just like, and for me, it's so much fun going through the whole process, and fingers crossed, hoping that it comes out exactly the way that I'd planned it.
Yeah. So tell us more. I guess let's go back to, we both grew up in Nashville, which has
Yep.
changed dramatically. I live in
Oh my
Birmingham
God.
now. My parents just retired and moved down here, but I've been back. But man, I went to Auburn, and then really, since late '90s, I mean, it's just changed dramatically. Which since you live up there, what part of town are you in?
Right now I live in Dixon.
Dixon. Okay.
Yep.
Down 40. Is that right?
No, it's off of Highway 70.
70. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
It's been a while. I
I-40.
forget.
Excuse me. Yes, I-40, Highway 70.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, just tell us about childhood. Tell us a little bit more about you growing up.
Growing up, I went to Charlotte Park Elementary. Then in 5th grade, went to Nashville Christian. Graduated from there. From there, went to MTSU.
Mm-hmm.
Went there for a couple of years. Ended up joining the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Was in the Air Force for 4 years. Came back and got into framing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of really my first, really any kind of experience that I ever had with building. You know,
Okay.
I was working with a friend of mine, and we were building the big 2-story gambrel roof barn
Okay.
shed for Home
Yeah.
Depot.
Okay.
And so we were going around and building those things, and we did that for a while. And I enjoyed working with my hands and making things, but that wasn't paying the bills. We worked nonstop for 3 months. I mean, we didn't take a day off, and
Yeah.
we weren't making any money. We
Yeah.
just couldn't build them fast enough. And
Mm-hmm.
so we had to find something else to do. And we
Mm-hmm.
did, and got into a little more specialized carpentry. And then I went into project management with a home remodeling company.
Mm-hmm.
Hush. And then,
Don't worry, mine's going to be doing it in a minute anyway. So
okay. And then I had an
they
opportunity to
always seem
start.
to bark at the perfect time, don't they?
I know the wind's blowing, so it startled him, and he's,
Yeah.
whatever. And so I lost my train of thought. Oh, so I was working for this remodeling company, and our tile subcontractor asked me if I've ever thought about working for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was kind of in a situation where you were talking about earlier, where I
Mm-hmm.
had a job and I liked it, but I would have loved to work for myself, but I didn't know how to get there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Not from where I was. I was like, I don't even know how to make that transition.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I tell you what, he said, you come work with me. And I followed him around and learned the ins and outs of tile.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started keeping me busy and
Mm-hmm.
kept me busy for a year and a half. And I was passing out business cards while I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And
So the guy
so,
that you were working for or with was kind of like a mentor, I guess.
yeah, the guy that initially got me into tile, he was the one that allowed me to eventually transition into concrete. And
Yeah.
I say transition, I haven't transitioned. I've just added another skill, basically, because one of the things that I offer, or that my company does, that's different than others, is I don't just do concrete, and I don't just do tile. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If you have a kitchen or a bathroom that you want to remodel, I can take care of, in your bathroom, I can take care of your floor, and we can
Mm-hmm.
do concrete panels on the walls instead of tile for your shower. Lots of people are doing that now. And you can do the concrete vanities,
Yeah.
kitchens. I can do countertops with a backsplash. I mean, I feel like it just allows me to offer more to the customer,
Mm-hmm.
and not just pigeonhole myself into one thing. It just makes me a little bit more of a unique remodeling company, I guess,
Yeah.
with also custom artwork if you want it.
Yeah. Well, man, your artwork's amazing, and I definitely want to get into that and show some of the stuff that you sent over to me, and maybe have
Sure.
you talk about it. But I guess the question is, were you always like artistic? Were you always led to create things, or did it just kind of evolve?
When I was a kid, I really liked to draw.
I did too.
Um, and that was something that I used to sit out in the front of my house, in the front yard, and draw pictures of my house. Um, and so, and then originally, I kind of was thinking about architect when I was a kid, thinking
Mm-hmm.
that would be something fun. And, I think what I've learned is that if you can reconnect with your inner child, a
Yeah.
lot of times you can find or figure out what your passion is,
Mm-hmm.
because you were doing it when you were a kid,
It's very true.
and so, I wasn't far. I would have been extremely happy as an architect. That would have been fun. I like to design and create. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That is something that I really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's something that I've thought back about, and I like to draw when I was a kid. Never really did much like building or working with my hands that way. Not really. Not, like I said, not until I got out of the Air Force
Yeah.
and came back. That was really the first time I'd ever started doing anything like that. I was like, I really like doing this. And so here we are.
Yeah. So tell me, at NTSU, were you majoring anything particular, or just
I
going
went
because
there.
it's what we go to, because that's what we do after high school, or what?
Well, yes, I went there because it was what everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
And so, and when I went there, I was going for graphic design.
Okay.
Um, but it wasn't a fit for me.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. And so the deal was I didn't have the direction I needed
Mm-hmm.
to be motivated to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that graphic design was not necessarily what I wanted to do, and I just didn't feel like I was hitting the right buttons. You know what I mean? And so I ended up joining the Air Force, and I really enjoyed that. I did. I had a great time, met a lot of great people, got to see the world, and I really enjoyed feeling like I was doing something that mattered,
Yeah. That's
and,
important.
and I really, I really connected with the motto that we had in the Air Force, which was service before self.
Mm-hmm.
And, and a lot of some of the books that I've read, one of the things they talk about is one of the best things you can do is to serve other people. That's, especially to just make yourself happy. You tend to get happiness out of helping others. And I kind of got that along with the camaraderie from the military, but
Yeah.
Again, for personal reasons, I got out.
Yeah.
I was getting a divorce and
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be in Germany and have my
Mm-hmm.
kids in Tennessee. So I came back and found building.
Yeah.
And, that led me down this road of picking up all these different skills along the way that I use to make whatever I can think up, Lance,
Yeah.
or whatever somebody else can think up.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in trying to find somebody, a customer, a client, designer, architect that wants to think outside the box and make something other than a rectangle. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I love making countertops, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And there is an art to it. But at the end of the day, it's a rectangle.
Yeah.
And, so as much fun as that is, that's why I like to try and challenge myself and do all these different things in my free time just to see what I can do, to challenge myself so that if I can make something that maybe inspires somebody else and they're like, I saw that and I want to do something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
like this, you know what I mean? And that's when it starts getting fun.
Yeah.
When people have something in their mind that they've never seen before, but I want to help make it,
Yeah.
that's when I'm in my element. You know what I mean?
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
And it's the name of it is Element Concrete Designs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So tell us a little bit more about the Air Force. What was that like? And what did
Um,
you do?
it was fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time. Like I said, I got to um, experience a lot of different extremes for sure. My first 2 years, I was in Minot, North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
In the winter?
for two winters.
Yeah.
Two winters.
No fun up there, man.
Yeah, I think the coldest it ever got there with the wind chill while I was there was 70 below.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it was I'm glad I got to experience it. I really
Yeah.
am. You know what I mean? I am thankful for that. Because anytime I'm cold, I can look back on that and be like, yeah, but it's not 70
It's
below.
not that bad. Exactly.
It's not that bad. And then another extreme that I got to experience while I was there was we went to an exercise in Las Vegas
Mm-hmm.
at Nellis Air Force Base, Red Flag. They do it every year. And I think it's late January, but I'm not positive. But we left North Dakota. It was 40 below. When we landed in Nevada, in Las Vegas, it was 60 degrees. So we had a 100-degree temperature change
Wow.
in like 3 hours. And we were out there walking around in short sleeve shirts, sweating like it was summertime.
Yeah.
And everybody else was in like stocking caps and Gore-Tex jackets. It was hilarious.
Man, that's
Everybody's
cool.
like, "Where are you guys from?"
So what did you do in the Air Force?
I operated heavy equipment.
Okay. What kind of
Yeah, so
stuff?
primarily like tractor trailers. We do a
Mhm.
lot of front end loaders, the big 40-ton forklifts. We did a lot of moving, cargo, munitions, anything that needed to be moved, man.
Yeah. And I love what you said about service. What was it? Service before others?
Service before self.
Before self. Yeah. That wouldn't make sense if it's service for others. A little slow there. But yeah, because and I've learned that Ram Dass was really important to me, and he had asked his guru, how does one find God or enlightenment, and it's serve others, and I
Right.
think that like that's something in this society that I hope that this change and everything's going on is going to help people not be so inwardly focused.
I hope so. I do hope so. Or not inwardly focused in a negative way. Not to
Correct.
be so. Right now, it seems like, especially with social media, um, people tend to be very egocentric.
Hmm.
I mean, oh my gosh, you go on a number of people's Instagram pages and look at their page, and it's nothing but pictures of themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just literally nothing but selfies,
Hmm.
and that's become the norm.
Yeah.
And that seems so strange to me. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I
That
agree. I see people, that basically just post pictures of themselves, and they'll have like 300 or 400 likes and stuff. And not that none of that matters, but I'm like, I just don't get that either. Personally, I'm not
yeah.
judging it, but
No,
yeah,
and I'm not either, but
yeah,
I feel like it's unfortunate that you're at a point where you need the validation from others. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because I feel like that's why it's done. You know what I
hmm
mean? It's because there is that lack of self-confidence, or
self
actually
love.
of self-love. And it's something that I've just recently kind of experienced, which is, I'll be honest with you, Lance, for the longest time, man, and it's maybe like the last 3 years, I've really just started feeling comfortable in my own skin. You know what I mean? Like,
Me too.
accepting myself for who I am, my flaws and everything, and be like, this is it. This is it. And I've realized I've got to stop comparing myself to other people. I'm never going to be them. You know what I mean? It's all I have is myself, and I can just try to be the best version of me, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's. I think that's our society too, because with social media, with advertising, it's we're always kind of taught that we're not enough and we need to be this or that or this way or look this way or
Right.
to be something. And deep, I mean, you're the only you're the only Tommy Hearn that's ever been. I mean, yeah, there may be people similar to us, but there's never been anyone but ourselves. And the
Right.
more that we learn to accept that, and I want to ask you about that because that's something that I've spent a lot. I mean, I was really shy in high school. I wasn't like disliked. I disliked myself, honestly. I remember
Sure.
trying to be funny, trying to think of something funny to say. I think I'm relatively funny, but it doesn't matter. But like, like what? Tell me about that path for you to self
Oh my
love.
gosh. When I was extremely shy,
Mm-hmm.
as a even into like I'll tell you what really brought me out of my shell. And it's crazy. I look back at it, and I never in a million years would have thought that I would go this route. But the job that I took when I was 21,
Mm-hmm.
that forced me to start addressing some of my fears,
Mm-hmm.
was I became a ballroom dance instructor.
Wow,
If you
that's
can
cool.
believe that. Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
I was with a friend of mine. Yeah, I was with a friend of mine, and we were at a bar in Bellevue
Mm-hmm.
shooting pool,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a guy that owned a dance studio. Actually, he and his father owned like 4
Mm-hmm.
dance studios in the Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to us and started talking to us and mentioned that he was a world champion professional ballroom dancer, and I didn't even know there was such a thing. This was before um, the show with
Dancing
the
with the
Stars.
Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, this was before then. So,
Yeah.
I mean, God, I was 21 and I'm
Mm-hmm.
46 now. That was almost 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And so he asked us if we were interested to come by the studio. We went by there. I was like, you know what? It's not a bad gig. You get paid to learn how to dance. So I was like, I was 21. I was like, I
Why
got
not?
nothing else going on. Let's do it,
Yeah.
And so I did that for a year, and it really did a lot of things for me. It really did a lot of things for me. It helped with um, just some self confidence,
Mm-hmm.
that I needed for sure. But I was still kind of shy. I wasn't at the point where I was comfortable with myself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I was just comfortable on the dance floor now and comfortable talking to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But I still wasn't where I am today,
Mm-hmm.
where, I'm good with who I am. And if other people are not, then I realize that's on them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not on me. And I've spent more time than I should have worrying about what other people think, because they're probably not even thinking about me in the first place. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm worried about my hair or my clothes or anything, and they're probably not even paying attention to me at all. But I spend all this time in my head worrying about things that don't matter,
Yeah.
and to let that stuff go and realize, just be myself, you know what I mean? And not try to worry about putting on, just be myself and always tell the truth, and I don't have to worry about having a good memory, right?
Yeah. You're right.
It's
You're right.
it in that way, I'm trying to be as authentic as I can.
Yep.
I'm not trying to that I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm
Mm-hmm.
just a guy that likes to make stuff, Lance. That's that is what I am.
So tell me, like, what is that? What does it mean to you to be able to do something you love? Because we talked about that a little bit beforehand, and I think a lot of people have an idea of something they'd like to do, but it is scary. But what is it? What does it mean to you first off to be able to do what you love?
Man, it is it's probably one of the things I'm most grateful for, because, like I've said, I've had jobs that were jobs.
Hmm.
You know,
Just
I've
over
had
broke.
I've had jobs,
Yeah.
and I've been there, and it's so much. It's 180 degrees
Hmm.
from having a job to getting to do what you're passionate about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so for me, it's not always in the shape of concrete.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's tile,
Hmm.
and um, for a while, I wanted it to be like just concrete. And it was interesting how I was so quick to kind of turn my back on what allowed me the freedom to be creative and work for myself was the tile, and I was so ready to be. And then I realized, like, there's nothing wrong with do. And I was able to kind of refocus on tile and realize that it was okay to do tile and concrete,
Hmm.
and to kind of, this is, I was trying to make it be one thing. And then I just was able to look for the opportunity to be creative in both,
Yeah.
because sometimes tile is what I have to do. Other times it's concrete,
Hmm.
but to be able to do that, I was lucky. You know, I was lucky to have someone that offered that opportunity up to me to help mentor me and allow me to make the transition from being an hourly worker to working for myself.
Yeah.
Um, you know, because it's a double-edged sword, though, you know, as any self-employed entrepreneur will tell you. You know what I mean? There are no days off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's definitely no such thing as a paid vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that, but the late nights, they're not bad. You know what I mean? Like, I stay in my shop till 8 o'clock at night
Yeah.
because time flies and I'm having fun. You know what I mean? And I'd rather be doing this than sitting on the couch watching TV. You
Amen.
know, I feel like that is one thing that this society needs, and maybe they can use this time to do it, is to be creative,
Yeah.
whatever that means. You know what I mean? Everybody has their different way to be creative, whether it's through music or through art or through gardening or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Everybody has a way that they enjoy being creative, and if they can tap into that, um, it would give them a glimpse into what I get to do on a daily basis, you know, and I love it. I seriously, I go to bed. Sometimes it's hard for me to go to sleep because I have a project on my mind that I'm so anxious about that I can't wait to get started on the next day. I dream about this stuff. I'm not kidding. I dream about concrete. It's crazy.
That's awesome though, man. And I love how you say, you know, you lost time and you lose track of time. And I think that
For
we all
sure.
have something that way. I mean, when I draw, and that's not like my main passion, but like you, I like drawing houses and structures and things.
Yep.
Totally lose myself in that. And I have good friends that are photographers, and when they get into editing and stuff like that, like they're just gone. But
Yep.
I mean, how many people can say I can't go to sleep at night because I'm so excited to go to my job tomorrow? You know, like that's not normally the case. And I think that, like
No,
you
it's not.
said, you know, when you talked about using time or investing time, you know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with TV, but
No,
you know, I think it's
it's all
important
about
to
what are you consuming through the TV?
100%.
You know, that's the content is what matters.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I've had that realization recently. I mean, I was watching some during the downtime. I was watching some shows on Netflix, and not that they were bad, but one, I don't like to like commit to like watching a whole series. I just don't feel right just sitting there and watching stuff over and over. But two, you know, some of them are kind of dark and stuff, and it just
Right.
leaves me feeling shitty. I don't like that.
Sure.
I mean that, and I'm learning to listen to that. You
For
know, and
sure.
even like social media you talk about, it's called scrolling through your what? Feed. What is it feeding you? What are we taking in?
Right.
Because that's what we're going to manifest.
Absolutely. That is the one of the things that's honestly, Lance, when I first started this journey, one of the very first videos I watched on YouTube that kind of started this whole ripple effect was a video on the law of attraction.
Mhm.
Um, and I watched several of those and started thinking about it. And I was like, I get it. I get what they're saying, and it makes sense. And it's to focus on, it's whatever you focus on,
Mhm.
you will manifest. You know what I mean? And so you have to be careful about, you know, at the time I was wanting to lose weight.
Mhm.
And so I was always thinking, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And then I came across the law of attraction, and I realized what I was doing was not focusing. I was focusing on what I don't want instead of focusing on what I do want. And what I did want was to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so when I changed the focus, everything changed. I mean, like everything. It was crazy. Once I decided I want to be healthier, I started watching videos on YouTube about keto and doing the ketogenic diet. And I started doing that, and I started feeling better and just being healthier. And it kind of just continued down this road of just trying, like I said, to be the best version of me that I could. And I had to start with my mindset. And then I started with what I was putting in my body with the food and drinking and anything that was unhealthy. I was trying to just get rid of, because I was trying to be healthier.
Mhm.
That was the goal, be healthier. Then I started exercising and started feeling better, and then I found creative outlets and ways to, be creative and tap into that love for creation that we all have, and I always tell my kids, figure out what you would do for free
Yeah,
and then figure out how to get paid to do it. you
that's a
know
great advice.
I was like, that's what I do. I figured out what I would do for free. This is what I do in my free time. If money weren't an issue, this is what I would be doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is it.
And that's living the dream, man. I mean, you hear
Sure.
people say, and it's mostly people that are very successful. What do they say? It doesn't feel like work.
It's not. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's
You
playtime.
don't have a boss making you stay at the shop till 8 to punch
Right.
out. Yeah.
Right.
You love what you do. That's awesome, man. And like that's part of why I'm doing these shows. I mean, this podcast and the daily videos. And it took me a while, kind of like you're talking about. Man, I used to be so uncomfortable, like, oh shit, what is this person going to think? And no, I've just decided, like I've gotten to that place of comfort and realized that, and that's another thing that I think about art is that when anything about creating, not just art, if you're trying to make something that everyone's going to like, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I believe that, what it's about taking that step and putting yourself out there because it will reach the right people. I mean, if you're putting it out there, and that's part of that law of attraction.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
And another thing on the law of attraction, I'm glad you brought that up. I haven't really talked about that much, but it took me a while to kind of understand that. And I think it kind of goes back to prayer too. I mean, whatever you want to, prayer, manifestation, whatever, when you're asking for something or wanting something, what you're doing with the universe is you're solidifying its absence. How
Right.
I want to be this is saying I'm not that. I'm not that. And as long as you say that, you're solidifying that.
Yeah, I agree. I think, when it's something that you want, you have to recognize what it is.
Mhm.
And it's funny. I had this last year. I came up with this goofy little motto that I kind of came up with for me for the 2019 year, and it
Mhm.
was bullseyes and butterflies.
Mhm.
And what that meant was I wanted to keep my eyes on two things: the bullseye, which the whole point being is you can't hit the bullseye unless you're focusing on it.
I like
You know
that.
what I mean? And so, whatever your goals are, focus on your goals.
Mhm.
And then the butterflies was look for the good things in life. You know what I mean? Because with the law of attraction, you're going to find whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for the positive things, you'll find them.
Mhm.
If you're looking for the negative things, you'll find those too. They're everywhere. It just depends on what you're looking for as to what you find. And so that was my little motto that I came up with. But
I like that. That's a good one, man.
thanks.
And it kind of goes back to, I don't like quote a lot of scripture and stuff, but I was raised in Christianity and I've explored, Hinduism, Buddhism, and a lot of different religions, and they're all kind of the consistent theme. But Philippians 4:8, think on these things. I don't even know how to quote it, but whatever is good, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure. Like, I mean, that's strictly telling us think on good things, bullseyes and
Right.
butterflies. It
Yeah.
doesn't say think about what is good, lovely, and what what might happen next week or not have enough money. Like we get caught up in that. But let me dovetail on that. Like you're human like anyone else. I'm sure that you have times where when fear pops up or your thinking gets thrown out of whack. What do you do to how do you address that? How do you move past that?
Lance, I have spent a lot of time, because, well, a lot of time is doing self-reflective type stuff.
Hmm.
Man, I live out on a 200-acre farm, and I'm surrounded by cows, and I live with my dog. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So it's like I told you, I'm lucky if I talk to one person a day. This
Yeah.
quarantine life is my life. It's how I live. So it's
No
not that
change.
it's not that change. It's not that big a change for me, honestly. But other than I'm not spending my life in other people's bathrooms right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just I spend a lot of time reflecting, and I have learned to pay attention to when my mind gets, like, anytime I start having a negative feeling, I
Mm-hmm.
instantly spot it, and I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on a second, what's that all about, and I'll unpack that feeling, and I'll try and figure out what's that about, like, what am I angry about, what is it that's bothering me, and I'll shine instantly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of sweeping it under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
there's a quote that says, "The treasure that you seek is in the place that you don't want to go."
Mm-hmm.
And so anytime I have a negative feeling like that, if somebody gets me rattled, or a situation or whatever, and I immediately try to course correct,
Mm-hmm.
and be like, let it go, and
Mm-hmm.
I really try to focus on controlling my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
um and then occasionally I'll catch myself with the self-talk, where I'm having these imaginary conversations, telling that person that I'm angry with, giving them a piece of my mind, that, what am I doing? Why am I having this conversation that's never going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a waste of time and energy, but it lets me know there's still work that needs to be done, because I haven't let it go.
Yeah.
And so it just forces me to kind of focus more on myself, and be more self-aware, and realize that it's real easy to fall into that way of thinking, and it's real easy to want to seek validation,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're angry at somebody, and so you go on social media, or you talk to your friends, and you're looking for them to pump you up and be like, you should be mad. You have every right to be
Mm-hmm.
mad at that guy. You know what I mean? We do it all the time, where we're looking
Misery
for
loves
valid.
company.
Absolutely. And we want to make sure, get validation from our friends and peers that are like, no, you should be angry.
Yeah.
And the last thing I would never tell somebody you should not be angry.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go,
Mm-hmm.
because that hanging on to that negative energy is self-destructive. It really is. It's like swallowing poison and hoping that it kills the other person.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a Nelson Mandela quote. It's very true.
Yeah,
And a lot of people, I think, escape, whether it be TV or drinking or whatever. And I've been guilty of those things in my life,
for
and
sure.
I think we all do, but I think that's human nature to try to, to try to bury that, to put on that, that give off the air. Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, how you doing? Okay. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. I mean, it's
Yeah.
okay to express and healthy to deal with those emotions. I agree.
Yeah. The hard thing, I guess, for most people is finding someone that they can have those vulnerable conversations with. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? That it's not necessarily a conversation you can have with anyone, because some people don't want to be on the receiving end of it, or even the sharing end of that conversation. And
Hmm.
so it's why I feel extremely lucky to have a friend like Eric,
Hmm.
because he's my go-to guy.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
He's awesome,
he's
man. And yeah,
yeah.
he's got that energy. And Eric and I, he was a year behind me.
Okay.
And I knew him, but we weren't really friends. We've reconnected in the last couple of years. And, for anybody that doesn't know Eric, which is most people watching this, Eric Bryant's a friend of mine. He's a friend of ours who's out in LA. And his mantra is best day ever. And, he says that. And you know what? It works, man. And I've
It
passed it
does.
along to people that I coach. And some days it does not feel like the best day ever. I mean, I had him on recently, and he had just been through a really rough week with some horrible things, and
Yeah.
like you got to put that cart before the horse sometimes, and it's not comfortable.
You have to choose how you're gonna greet the day. You have to.
Yeah.
I teach it to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest son, we text each other all the time. Best day ever.
Yeah.
And initially when Eric introduced me to that saying, at first I was kind of like, yeah, whatever, best day ever. And he would hit me with it, and I'd be like, yeah, best day ever. And he's like, come on, T. And I'd be like, best day ever. And then I started saying it. I was like, you know what? Best day ever. I was like, it is the best day ever. It's the only day.
It
You know
is
what
the
I mean?
only day.
And tomorrow's not guaranteed. So make it the best day ever, meaning that when you have a chance to talk to a stranger and, talk to them, put down
Mm-hmm.
your phone, engage with them, connect with them. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like, it's an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
because they might be really needing somebody to listen, and they could be in a spot where an honest listening ear makes all the difference for their day, and so I try to approach that opportunity when I meet people. I try to be as intentional as possible with everything that I do, from what I put in my body to what I do with my time, to the words that come out of my mouth, to the thoughts that run through my head. I try to be very intentional. I don't want to do anything on autopilot,
Yeah.
And it's taken me a while to break free of that programming and get this new software to where I feel like it's running by itself. You know what I mean? Like, because it takes practice. You have to retrain your brain to not think the way that we've thought for 40 some odd years. You know what I mean? And it's natural to, it's not easy. That's why people don't do it. You know what I mean? It's easier to sit on the couch and be told what to think and
Yeah.
be told how to feel and to get lost in something else other than
A distraction.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Pleasure, maximize the highs, minimize the lows, and it's a lot easier to just exist and go with the
I'm
flow
guilty
and
of it,
do what
man.
you.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I did it for a long, long time. A
Yeah.
long
I did too. So, Tommy, do you mind if I'm going to try to share my screen? I would love to have you. I say try because I haven't done it in a minute. Let me know if you can see. Okay, can you see that?
I can.
Okay, I'm going to pull up some of your pieces of art because I want
Go for it.
people to be all right. Can you see that?
Do you have? I see your cursor moving around.
You don't
The
see the one
mouse.
that says the shop?
Oh yes, the
Okay.
one at the top that's highlighted. Yep, I
Yeah.
see it.
Okay. Let's see.
What do you want to know?
Just tell us more about it. I'm just going to share some of your things.
Yeah. That is something that I'm currently working on for a friend of mine that owns a place in Nashville called The Shop,
Mm-hmm.
and they do all kinds of custom work, primarily on automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing for The Shop is it's all things custom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I approached him with an idea that I had about making a sign, and I thought, if you're going to have a shop that's all things custom, you kind of
Need a
need
custom sign.
you need a custom sign, something that you can't find anywhere. I mean, it's literally one of a kind, It's what I love about what I do. I get to make things that has never existed before.
Yeah.
There's not another one in the world. You know what I mean? That's fun for me,
Yeah. All right,
So
I'm going to keep trying, and I just want to pull up a couple more of these, and I want to make sure that you give out your website. But let's see. I mean, these things is amazing. Here's another one. Let me know if this shows. I might need to practice. Can you see that?
I cannot see. I see the small version of it.
Okay.
It's not highlighted on me, but that's one of. I made a couple of different pieces
Mm-hmm.
that are like a shadow box uh, with a trumpet player,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if that's the one. There's a one that's a guy's got a hat on,
This is the
and
one with the hat. I hope other
okay,
people can see this. I need to practice screen sharing, but let's see.
okay, yeah, I'm not sure, but I made that one, and that was the first one I'd ever made, and it was fun. That was definitely it was like a test
Yeah.
because the next one I was making was going to be for my son for his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other one that I made for, if you click on the one with the guitar,
Yeah.
the one with the guitar I made for my oldest son, Noah.
Okay.
I made that. That's his favorite guitar. It's a Jazz Master.
Dude, that's
Uh, that's
awesome.
that's the body style. So I
Yeah.
made that. And then my son Blaze was having a birthday, and I was like, I want to make something for him, but I didn't want it to be the same thing. Like I didn't want to do he plays the trumpet. And so I didn't want to make a trumpet and make it look just like that. So again, I tried to push myself to come up with something new and think outside the box. And that's where I started messing around with the shadow box thing. So, it's
And
fun.
this one right here is really neat. Can you see that? It's the
Yeah.
porch
That's
set.
the outdoor
Yeah.
seating. Yeah. I,
How in the world did you make that, man?
I made that. Well, out of
That's
concrete.
just that's I know it's just amazing, man. I mean, it's
Yeah, thank
just
you. Thank you.
really, really good.
I had a customer that came to me, and he lives in the 12 South area
Mm-hmm.
and had a house that he was building on. The front porch is not big, and he
Mm-hmm.
really didn't want to do handrails because it would have looked kind of like a playpen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just like it would have been almost caged in. He was like, I need something that will serve as a barrier, but also provide seating.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me think about it. So I went home, drew something up, and I was like, well, what do you think about this? And he loved it. And so I made it, and I was really pleased with it. I thought it
It's
turned.
beautiful, man. It looks
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That was fun.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up another one here that this this planter or pot or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Tell us
Yeah.
more about that.
That
That's
was,
awesome.
thank you. I made that. I've always been a fan of like Eastern culture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just everything about it pretty much.
Yeah.
And that was Asian culture inspired. I don't know if that's the right phrase or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but I feel like it has a hint of that when you look at it.
It
And
does.
I was making something that was going to be a home for a bonsai tree.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
so there it is.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, thanks. It was the first one I'd made. I've made a few since then.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fun to make. I love them. I really want to try to make one bigger because I sent you a picture. I don't. Oh yeah, it that one fits in my hand.
Okay.
So, but I'd love to make a bigger version of that.
What about that one?
That one is one that I made for my mom.
Okay.
I make a lot of stuff for my mom.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have somebody that, she loves everything I make, and I love to make stuff in my
Moms
free
are that way.
time. Yeah, so
But it's really, really good. And I'm not your
thank
mom,
you.
so
Yeah, thank you. She is definitely my biggest fan.
that's awesome. And I was gonna show the metal workings too.
Oh,
Tell
okay.
us about
Yeah.
this, yeah.
Now
Because it's not everything's concrete.
that one that you just clicked on is a Nightwing sign. It's a wall sign that I made for my youngest son, Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
Best day ever,
Yeah.
son. And he is a huge fan of Nightwing, the
Mm-hmm.
comic book character, and
Mm-hmm.
that's his insignia. And so I found it and put it on a piece of plywood, cut it out, put some blue cellophane on there, and did a backlight on it. And so that bottom right corner is it on the wall
That's
lit up
so cool, man.
lit up at night.
Dude, that's
Thanks.
awesome, man. How is it lit up? Is it backlit?
I had rope lighting that I put in the
Okay.
back.
Dude, that's really cool, man.
Thanks. That was fun. That was fun.
And then I want to ask you about this one.
Oh, those are some knives that I made. The one is it looks like a regular knife. The
Mm-hmm.
other two are the really small one was just scrap metal that was left over that I just decided to see if I could make a smaller version of one.
Yeah.
But that second knife is called I believe it's pronounced karadeshi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Japanese style, like a chisel slash scraper knife.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow a lot of guys on Instagram that make custom knives.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always, I'm still a huge fan and collector of pocket knives. And when I came across the world of knife making, I was like, it just never crossed my mind that people made awesome knives in their garage. And
Mm-hmm.
Lance, I'm telling you, there are some guys that make some incredible knives in their garage. They are amazing. They're
Yeah.
awesome. And, those guys for sure inspired me to dip my toes into that world and mess around, which it was fun to get into that. I wish I had a ton of free time because I would love to get back into that, but my love is concrete.
Yeah. Well, man, I really appreciate your time. First off, I love your art. I love that you do what you love to do, and I
Thank
think
you.
like this. I hope this inspires other people to step out of their comfort zone. I mean, what advice do you have for someone? Maybe someone that has a hobby or something that they're good at, but they're afraid to step out there. What advice do you have for someone to even get started on it?
Well, the first advice would be what I would tell my kids, and
Mm-hmm.
that is figure out what you would do for free. Like,
Yeah.
what do you love to do that, if you had all the time in the world,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do with it? What brings you happiness?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you figured out what that is, figure out how to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The world is a different place than when we grew up. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And there are people that make a living creating videos and putting them on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are
Mm-hmm.
people that make a living riding skateboards, riding bicycles, snow skiing,
Mm-hmm.
snowboarding. There are people that make a living climbing mountains, jumping out of planes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Figure out what it is you love to do, and then there's a way to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Whether you are your own boss or you're doing it for somebody else,
Yeah.
at least you're doing something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That's the first step, is to get headed in the right direction and then start taking steps towards it. You know what I mean? And if it's just a matter of changing your job and doing
Mm-hmm.
something, first you've got to figure out what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't suggest leaving a job until
Mm-hmm.
you have found a way to pursue your passion,
Mm-hmm.
and until you can, I would say practice your passion.
Yeah.
If nothing else, make it your hobby and
Mm-hmm.
spend your time doing it and perfecting it. And maybe you're lucky enough to where it becomes your job. Maybe you're just lucky enough that it's your hobby that you do with all your free time. You know what
Yep.
I mean? There are a lot of people that don't even know what they're passionate about right now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a good time to kind of figure it out.
And back to that question, and we'll kind of wrap up on that. What do you say to that person that's like, I don't know what I'm passionate about, or what advice can you give them?
I would tell them what advice would I give to somebody that doesn't know what they're passionate about? Well, I would say get out there and do some stuff.
Yeah.
Do stuff that makes you happy.
Yeah.
and it's easy to spot what you don't like. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it's easy to recognize what you don't like to do. Sometimes it can be tricky as
Mhm.
far as, there are a lot of things that are fun, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But I can't be a professional roller skater, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the advice I would tell them would be just to try to, experience new things. If you
Yeah.
haven't experienced your passion yet, or you don't know what it is, it's because you haven't done it yet,
Yeah.
and to experience it and
Mhm.
try new things and do different things. And who knows,
Yeah.
maybe you'll discover something that all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's it.
And I think
I've found.
that's great advice to try something different, because we get stuck in a rut. We fill up our time doing things we don't enjoy or avoiding life, and we can't have change in our life unless we make change first.
That's true. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome,
Yeah,
right?
that's the Albert Einstein quote
Albert
about
Einstein.
insanity. Correct.
That's right.
Tommy, man, thank you so much for coming on. And
Absolutely.
how can people find you? Find out more about your
Um,
art, and I'll put links in the bio too. But
the easiest way to find me, Lance, would be on Instagram with Element Concrete Design.
okay.
That is the best way. I post pictures of the stuff that I make,
Hmm.
and I've got my contact information so that if anybody has something they want me to make,
Yeah.
or they have new countertops, or they're looking for some sort of remodeling or artwork or whatever, you know, my contact information, you can go to my page or whatever it's called. I don't know. But it's got all my information, and it's got my contact information where you can call me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Perfect.
Instagram's the one that I spend my time on.
I'm gonna look it up right now. It's
Go for it.
element underscore concrete
Concrete
underscore
Design.
design.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, man. Loved
You're
having you
welcome.
on. Love your
I enjoyed it.
story. I love your art and your energy overall. And you are one of the blessed ones that's living the dream and doing what they love to do. And it is possible for anyone.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We're not
And
just here to exist.
no, we're not. And the deal is, though, Lance, is that I didn't get here by accident. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
I found something that I liked, and then I continued to take steps towards it.
Yeah.
You know, it started with the framing, and here I am. And it's
Yeah.
just continuing to pick up new skills and get better at them. And that's what life's all about, right?
You
While we're here
100%.
and helping others, we're trying to help ourselves.
Yep. Exactly. And create. I think create is huge.
I think create
Create
is huge.
something.
I think that is the missing key for a lot of people who are not happy, is they don't have a creative outlet.
Yeah.
They don't have a way to tap into that childhood creativity, and a way to get into that flow state and lose time and do something that just at the end of it they can step back and be like, wow, that was awesome,
Yep.
and just be happy about the experience.
Man, thank you so much, brother.
Absolutely.
Have to have you back on sometime, and we can talk about other stuff, man. So,
Anytime, man. I love talking about anything.
well, thank you so much, Tommy, and everyone go check out Element Concrete Design on Instagram. I'm not sure that the screenshots were working. I got to practice, but worst case, you got a lot of those pictures up on there.
Okay. Yeah, man. Works good. Hey, Lance, best day ever, man.
Best day ever, man.
See you
Take
later.
care, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.